Hello and welcome class 11 commerce students. Today in this class I will explain the characteristics or the features of small business. Small business previously I have introduced in the last class, but today I will focus in the features or characteristics of small business. So let's begin. So the major features of small business can be described as follows. First of all, simple technology or simple formation. First characteristics is easy and simple formation. It means that the business does not require much legal formalities. The business does not require much paperwork. Small capital is required, only a trade license is required, and the business can be started. Huge paperwork or huge legal formalities are not required in order to form a small business. So this is the main feature as well as one of the greatest advantage of small business. Now the second is limited capital or limited investment. It means that a small enterprise requires relatively less capital investment, which is provided by the owner through his own resources and borrowings. Capital investment is comparatively very low in small business because it does not use any high technology or any highly mechanized means of production. So that's why the resources is required is very low. They are not involving any high technology in their business or any high skilled specialized person in the management. So that's why the capital requirement is much less. So that's why the investment is limited. Next is labor intensive. I told you at the beginning of the chapter that small business is always considered as labor intensive business. Labor intensive business. That means it always generates or it always operates involving 50 workers or even more than that, a little bit more than that, but capital requirement is less. That is the previous point, and that is why it is not capital intensive. We know that there are two techniques of operation. One is labor intensive, another is capital intensive. Capital intensive is the feature of large scale business. But here in small business, labor intensive technology is used where more and more labor are involved and less machineries are involved. So that's why labor requirement of these capital of this kind of business is much more, and technology, modern machines, highly mechanized tools are not the part of these type of business because these things require more investment, much more capital resources, which cannot be provided by small scale business. So that's why this type of business is called labor intensive, because of the involvement of more and more labors. Next is simple management. Simple management. Now what does that mean? Management in the small business is independent in the sense that owners themselves can act as managers, and the management structure is very simple. Thus it can avail the benefits of direct motivation, maintain the secrecy, there can be flexibility in the operation. These things can be maintained in this type of business. Now flexibility means adaptability to change, has the capacity to accept the changes that can come. Because this business is a small scale operation, takes place in this kind of business, so it is very flexible. If any new thing is required by the customers, then change of operation can take place. This much flexibility it has, because large production doesn't take place, very small scale production takes place, which can be changed, which can be subjected to any kind of changes. So flexibility can be flexibility is adopted, flexibility is there in this type of business. Moreover, another thing is that the secrecy, there are different kind of trade secrecy which is to be maintained, in the business. It is maintained in the small business because the involvement of people in the management is much low, so secrecy is kept, whereas in large scale business it is not easy to maintain secrecy because of the involvement of many highly paid officials in the management. The management itself is a very costly management, it involves a lot of people, so secrecy is definitely not maintained. So trade secrecy is maintained in small type of business. So apart from flexibility, trade secrecy is also maintained in this type of business. Also, direct motivation is possible. Motivation is not directly possible in large scale operation business. Why? Because there is no direct communication with the management and the employee. But in small business, since the business is very small, so there is a little gap between the management and the employees. So there is no lag, and there is a direct communication which takes place between these type of employees and the management. Since the business is a small, direct communication is possible, so directly the employers can motivate the employees of the organization or the subordinate. Direct motivation is possible in case of small business. So these are the important features of small business and also the specialities. Next is local area operation. Many features are there, so I will explain today about these features only. Local area operation means the operations of small units are localized. It depends mainly on the local resources, but products may be exported all over the world. The production depends on the local resources available. So proper utilization of the local resources is also possible. Also another feature is there, these kind of business, since it is a labor intensive business, small business is a labor intensive business, that is why it has a great employment opportunity. It employs a lot, it involves a lot of people to come over there and work, and labor intensive unit needs involvement of more and more. So many are getting jobs because of this presence of small scale business. Also in this context, I must tell you that this small scale business has a huge role in our country called India. In the developing countries, this small scale business plays a very vital role, since it gives employment to the mass. So in this way many features are there, but these are the important features which you should include in your points. So till then, goodbye.